today we got a true pioneer in the building. We got Sir Too Short from Oakland Streets to Platinum Plaques. He's back with a brand new project, Sir Too Short Volume 1 Freaky Tales, the first chapter in a new trilogy. So let's get into it. What's up, Short?
What's up, man? Just doing it, man, on the grind as we speak.
That's what's up. So let's start with the lead single to Sir Too Short, Still Mackin. You bring back the Dope Fiend beat from Born to Mac. What made you want to revisit that sound now, and what message you trying to send by opening the album with that callback?
Well, it's inspired by the movie, the Freaky Tales movie, and I knew the movie was in the pipeline and was coming out pretty soon. I've been knowing this for the last 2 years. I got this project together that has a sort of a nostalgic feel, and I think it was kind of timely because, in my opinion, uh, artists, rappers are always trying to be relevant, time wise. They're just trying to compete and be, accepted as the new music they're putting out is hot. And I just got to a point where my career, these last few years, I've been in the lab a lot, and I just been hearing all this chatter from the left to right, all around about who to collab with, what kind of producer to work with, what artists you should do songs with, and just what would be hot. And I just decided, fuck it, man. I'm just gonna make some Too Short shit and not really give a fuck about what's hot. So to me, it's working out just fine for me. Uh, I've been in charge of all the Too Short albums pretty much. I didn't give a lot of people a lot of say so outside of Ant Banks. He's probably the only one who could work on a Too Short album with me and be loud and clear about how he felt it should sound and what it should be like, because I trust his opinions. But most people that work with me, it's they contribute and then I call all the shots. So on this one, I just shut out all the chatter, man. I was like, man, I'm just working like I used to work, just make some beats and funky ass shit and just see what they say.
Yeah, that's what's up. So you said you were talking about the collaborations, and there's several collaborations on here, but it never feels like it's crowded. So how do you choose who makes the cut, and how do you balance kind of like the OG voices with the newer voices like J Chess, Big Z, and those guys?
Yeah, well, man, I'm a producer at heart, so I know how to do the arrangements for songs, and I kind of been doing it so long, I got a feel for it. I know the Too Short formula, and being really basic and simple is a part of that formula, but it stands on a foundation of funky music. And when that foundation is the funk, you got a lot of room to do all kinds of other things. If the basic track is funky, what you're hearing, you can sing on top of it. You can talk, you can chant, you can rap, you could just let the beat play. You don't even have to put a hook on it. So I understand the funk. I grew up on that Parliament Funkadelic, Ohio Players cameo, Bootsy, James Brown. I'm a student of the funk. So as when I do my presentation, or even when I'm teaching people what it is and how to do it, it's all based on the funk.
Yeah, that's what's up. Now, the title track, Sir Too Short, kind of really sums it all up. You always win in the end, and
Yep.
everybody knows your name. Where does that mindset come from, and how do you keep that confidence grounded in reality?
From day one, when MCs were being rated and the rating was based on a rapper's cadence, uh, you know, the vocabulary and the intricate way they weave the rhymes in and out. And he's like, oh my God, he's a wordsmith. When that was, the main focus of what is the MC? Who's the best? I was totally just not in that conversation. I didn't want to be a part of. That's the reason why you're a dope MC. I was on a totally different page. Like I said, the music was out there up front for me, and then I developed a different style of just kind of really articulating my words slowly and clearly, and saying things that are like really slicker than other rappers would say about the individual, about myself. You know, rappers are doing these what do they call them, metaphors and stuff. And I was just saying, suck my dick, bitch. And it worked better. It worked better for me to lean on the funky and the funny and be a little bit explicit here and there. You know, I do a lot of songs that aren't sexually driven songs that are really like socially conscious songs. And even on those songs, I slow it down. I say the words. I say the sentences. I make sense, but it's also very easy to sing along to. I just put myself in a different space to where I didn't feel like I had to compete with Rakim or, you know, Big Daddy Kane and all the wordsmiths of the early era. And it served me really good to moving into the future because I never really like you there's a pressure with he's the best, he's the best, he's the best. There's a pressure that goes with that. I kind of fly under the radar a little bit when it comes to how talented is this brother, how dope are his beats, how really good are his songs, and you always championing somebody else that year, last year, 10 years ago. It's always somebody else is the guy, the new hot guy. It's never too short. But then as they all come and go, it's still always too short. I'm still here. So I know what I'm doing. It's just I happen to not I don't need a publicist or someone to tell you what I'm doing. You can figure it out, but if you don't, there's a whole legion of fans who support it. And I really don't, me and my fan base don't need the acceptance of the powers that be that crown you number one or the best or your your cream of the crop. Like I've never been top five shit. I've never been in any conversation, but have I have a way better career than most in the conversation.
Yeah, and so that kind of leads me into the fact that, you've released music in every area: tapes, CDs, digital, streaming. I say from tapes to TikTok. What's the one thing, and maybe you kind of alluded to it a little bit ago, but what's the one thing that's never changed about Too Short across all of those formats and eras?
The subject has never changed. The image has never even wavered a little bit. I haven't had any drastic looks as far as hairstyles and clothes. Nothing really drastic happened. It's always been Too Short. My voice hasn't changed much. Got a little older. Some of the songs back in the day, I sound like a little kid, but still the same flow, still the same twang. The music has never taken a leap of somewhere. I've never you never heard me do the interview. I'm like, yeah, man, we're trying something new this year. I just it's just the same funky Too Short. And the song was a song that I made in 1980, random song that sounds just like a song I made in 2025. That's Too Short.
So moving more back into the album, musically, it moves kind of in and out of styles. I mean, you got some mob music, some hyphy, some trap,
Mhm.
those kind of things. Were you looking to showcase versatility, or did those sounds come naturally based on who you were working with and where you are mentally?
No, this project came to be by recording dozens and dozens of songs. And when it came time to put out a finished product, there was so many good songs to choose from that I literally had to come up with a concept that made sense. And a double album wasn't making sense because you'd have a single or two and then everything else would just disappear. Um, Waiting till I'll be 59 years old in a week. So waiting to release these songs, one of them this year, one when I'm 60, another when I'm 61, 62, it didn't do anything for me either. Like just sitting on the songs for years and years. Some of these songs I even made a few years ago. So, it's just sitting there collecting dust. I don't think that I don't subscribe to Dr. Dre's theory of the detox album, where at some point in your life you just go, I changed my mind. I don't want to put these songs out. I don't believe in that shit. You know, it works for him because of Beats by Dre.
Yeah.
He don't give a fuck because I guess he's looking like the body of work is intact and the pockets are intact. But I'm a music guy, man. I want to put out music, so I just came up with the concept of let's just drop 3 separate albums really fast, back to back, 3 to 4 months apart, and there'll be 3 different versions of Too Short. The first one is nostalgic. Volume 2 is a from beginning to end project that was produced by Little John. Every beat is Little John production, and it's Little John did "Shake That Monkey," "Blow the Whistle," and a bunch of other songs with me. A bunch of songs I did with him. Be a couldn't be a better player. We have a really good chemistry in the studio, so we started working on some songs, and we just never stopped. We just kept going, so it ended up being a whole album. It's pretty dope too. And the third one is a collection of songs that are like the ghetto, life is too short, getting it, little more uh socially conscious, kind of like grown. And I'm probably even gonna do another studio album next year too. So it'll be when it's all said and done, I'll go from doing nothing for 5 years to doing 4 albums in 2 years.
Okay, cool. Yeah, looking forward to that. Speaking of good chemistry with a producer, you got a song on your album called "The Budget" that Ant
Yeah,
Banks produced.
yeah,
And it reminds me, I guess, kind of the beat reminds me at least of "All My Bitches Are Gone" from the "Get In Where You Fit In" album.
yeah.
What drew you to that track in particular, and how did you come up with the budget concept behind it?
Well, that beat is from a classic hip hop record called the Beat Bop. And back when I was a young hip hopper, high school years, that was one of our jams. It was never a big single. It wasn't played at parties. It was just a hip hop single that came out, and we liked it in the streets of Oakland. And me and Aunt Banks both appreciate and love that beat from back in the day. And we had always said for years that we were going to redo it, and we finally redid it. And the budget, the title, is just another title for a subject that I have beaten into the ground for so many years. And it's just I I was emotionally affected when the saying "it ain't tricking if you got it" became really popular, and people just said, "Well, you're exempt to being the negative part of what the word trick means. It doesn't apply to you if you got a lot of money because it's just like chump change to you." But where I'm from, if you're a trick and the only way you can get women is by paying them or doing things for them, and you do something like you could, I'll buy you a car, or you can you can have this expensive thing if you just let me have sex with you. You're just a trick. You're a trick. There's no way around it. There's no way around it if you're in a relationship with a woman who says that the minute you stop providing for her, relationship's over. You're a trick. And that theme slipped into hip hop. It ain't tricking if you got it. And it went into guys just bragging about that they're meeting a girl on the right after hello. They're like, "Hey, you want $10,000?" Or "Hello, can I give you a $40,000 purse?" And they're bragging about this, whether they're doing it or not. They're bragging about the sport of tricking. So ever since that saying came out, and I don't think Lil Wayne's a trick, but I feel like he's the first person that said it. I don't know if he's a trick because I don't know his day-to-day routine. I don't know if he's a trick, but I think he's the first one that said it. I'm not sure. T.I. raps a lot about being a pimp, but he also has been quoted saying it in a song. I consider him to be pimp-ish. He knows the game, but I feel like he might have said it. I don't know. I'm winging it right now. I'm not putting this on any individual. They all know who they are. The people who promote tricking in hip hop and the rappers who blatantly are tricks when they're not rapping, they're just tricks in real life. Everything on me. send her shopping, and all you get in exchange is pussy, you're a trick. So I have been beating that subject down by many titles, many songs for years. Even on the album, The Budget is a song about, you could trick if you want to, it's cool, but just know that you're a trick. And then the song that comes on right after is called Sucker Shit. It's like the same subject. And I'm like, I'm really not trying to tell you stop tricking. I'm just trying to tell the next guy who's not a trick, don't join up with that crew. Stay on our side. Be on the player side. Be on the non-trick side. And there's a pimp, a hoe, and a trick in every scenario. Which one are you? That's what I
Yeah,
say.
yeah, no doubt. And then, you've always had a unique way of obviously talking about women. It's raw, but it's with an intention. And then on songs like Go Bitch and You Don't Know, what kind of modern day dynamics are you reflecting on? Is it still kind of like in that budget theme or
Yeah, well, I like to uplift people through stories, and I don't like to single you out and name you or make it seem like it's really about you, the listener. But there's a lesson to be learned in some of the little isms I spit from song to song. And I'm really, I don't have a platform that I choose to that I choose to use for telling women don't get surgery. You're beautiful already. So I just do it in a too short way in a song. It's like you fucking up with them surgeries, and maybe somebody who's listening, or maybe somebody who's out there hadn't had those surgeries yet, and they were thinking about it. And maybe they're not gonna have them, or maybe you know somebody who had a surgery and was thinking about another one might not do the other one. They might just realize that them little titties are pretty. Like you don't need that shit. Your little butt is cute. It's your butt. The butt you about to get is not gonna be yours, and it's gonna be a boatload of problems ahead of you with that butt that you're about to buy. So it's just scared straight tactics, and the same thing I say for guys, don't be a trick. I also have a reoccurring message to women is just don't be a broke bitch, don't be a bum bitch, don't get out there and get used by these dudes. Like stand up for yours and get what you're supposed to get out of life. Like be a hustler. So it's all about living the good life, and the pimp game is the facade is I'm living the best life, I look the best, I got the best women, and you're just supposed to play that till the wheels fall off. I'm on that side of the game, man. It's pretty popular to buy a lot of bottles these days, and you go to the club and you spend like 25, 30,000, and you're the only one at the table spending money. Everybody just popping bottles and spilling liquor at your expense. It's just
right?
I don't promote that.
Yeah, no, I get that. And then kind of getting back, you got Pimpin' Like Kenny Red with Larry June and Boss Life Big Spence, who
Hmm.
Big Spence, he spit a dynamite verse on that record. He actually sounded a little bit like Freddie B on that record.
He's from
Um,
Oakland. He's from Oakland.
yeah. So what inspired that track's vibe, and then how do you keep I guess the player persona evolving without just recycling old game?
I guess because the game keeps evolving, and you just evolve with the game. Like if you had 1,000 pimps in a row spitting some pimp isms, they wouldn't be repeating the shit. It just goes forever and ever. And I got those isms, man. We never run out of them. E40 never runs out of new slang words. I don't know how we do it. We just do it. Boss Life Spence is from Oakland. He already has some regional success with songs. He spits that slick shit. And then we know Larry June. He took the game for the new generation and put a whole new spin on it. And he just opened a bunch of new eyes. He's spitting the same message, like don't be a sucker, don't be a trick, don't be a broke bitch. It's the same, it's the same themes of empower your empower yourself to be successful, to get the things you want in life. And it's not talking about prostituting women or selling pussy. It's just saying in your mind, know what it is to be treated like a pimp. Know what it is to get it the way you want, to live the way you want. Like I feel like a pimp. I don't have to be. I personally never pimped on any hoes, but I've always felt like I'm a pimp in real life. So I think a lot of people get it, and a lot of people don't. It's very educational. This album is more like a reminder. Like, did you guys forget? Like, everybody's not a sucker out here. You know, I'm coming in right now. No more sucker shit. Shut this shit down.
Now on Got It from the Bay, that one to me feels like one of them anthems. Um, what does the Bay Area mean to you musically and personally at this point in your journey?
Well, we do a lot of trailblazing in the Bay. We kicked in. We kicked off this energy. It's technically like a roughly like 100 beats per minute, and it it ushered in the hyphy movement. It was the tempo of the hyphy movement, which was later adopted by the likes of DJ Mustard, Tyga, you know YG. They all came along, and even to this very day, go check Kendrick's last album after the Drake battle, and just check the tempo on all the songs. They're all very close to 100 beats per minute, and it became a part of the West Coast DNA. So when you got artists like the Migos and artists from different areas making these beats that sound sort of West Coast ish, they're still being themselves. They own it. They represent properly on it, but it's a hyphy tempo, and the way you can't say okay. Bay Area, y'all own 100 beats per minute, but the way we flipped it and the way it continues to move forward, it is definitely born in the Bay. The Bay is trailblazers, man. We we spit that game. So many of us rappers from the Bay spit that game that other people from other regions recognize it. And like, oh man, y'all talk that slick shit in the Bay. And then they tell us that, yeah, when I'm doing this certain style and that style, I try to do some of that Bay shit. I've heard people all the way up to Beyonce say it. Like she did a song was like as soon as she heard it, sounded like some E42 shorts, sounded like some Bay shit. So um I think that in many ways we just contribute to hip hop. We give things that are used and things that are that stick around and become a part of the culture, the hip hop culture. And a lot of people contribute, a lot of areas. Atlanta has been a very large contributor to hip hop. New York City gave us hip hop and continued to contribute to the way it evolved, as well as Jersey and Chicago and Detroit, the contributors, Houston, Texas, people who give you stuff. Miami gave hip hop a lifestyle. It gave hip hop Luke Skywalker and Trick Daddy and Trina and it just goes on and on. Miami Girls, it keeps contributing. I think that the Bay Area is a consistent contributor to hip hop culture. We're part of the story, completely part of the story.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. You got a track on there with that was produced and features Prozac on there. It's called
Yeah,
Everywhere. And I love that song by the way with the Johnny Cash hook, like
yeah.
the whole thing. Um, was there a city or a moment in your career where it hit you like damn, I'm really out here outside of Oakland? What's your favorite city to visit as well?
I'm 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 I am really into the fun party cities where you get there and they just really show you a good time. The New Orleans, the Miami's, the cities where there's so many things to do, and I'm just into that, man. I like a small, sleepy town for reasons, of for those kind of reasons to be chill and relax and kick back. But send me somewhere where there's a fucking party every day and every night, and I might extend my vacation in those kind of cities. I've always been that way, so. Um, yeah, you could tell me I got two choices to go to a party city or send me to the most scenic place on earth, and I'll be like, I'll take the party city. You can have the balcony and the view.
No doubt. Um, so you and Prozac actually have a pretty good chemistry as well. I mean, you ain't gonna do it, big sexy thing. You're even on the lead
Yeah.
single to his upcoming album, "What About Me" with the Yin Yang Twins.
Yeah,
Talk about working with
he did some Mount Westmore songs too.
Yeah, yeah. So talk about working with Prozac and how you guys are able to connect so well.
Well, he's a rapper producer from back in the day. He was definitely right there in the early days of the Mac Dre E40 Too Short. He was right over up the street in East Palo Alto doing his thing, and he's always been around. So even though you might not know his chronological history of production or what has he done as an artist over the years, he was, when Dr. Dre was making Beats by Dre headphones with the company out of the Bay Area, Monster. I don't think he does it with Monster anymore, but when they were first with Monster, him and Jimmy Iovine, I was coming over there to the company doing like little side stuff with them. They used to do a lot of events and a lot of conventions and stuff. And Prozac would be with the owner, the guy Noel. Every time I see him, Prozac's right there with him. I go up to the Monster offices and he's in the room where they're inventing what's the new next thing we're going to come out with, and they're tinkering on how it's going to work. He's in there telling them yay and nay. This is practical. This is not. This works. This doesn't, and helping them develop products. So he's tapped into a lot of things other than rappers and beats, and he's just one of those kind of people who, even though he's not the easiest person to work with because he's super opinionated, which is good in a producer, but it's just you know it makes it not the easiest people to work with when they always telling you they know it's right, and you know what's not right, and you just argue. I like to argue with producers. I like that shit because it gets a better song made. But yeah, he's he's been uh he's been like on, I would say, one of those like second win, third win type of vibes in his life because he's giving beats to Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, like OG rappers are turning to him. Got that touch on how to make you sound good but not dated. He's figured that out.
Okay, yeah, he's super dope. And you mentioned Mount Westmore, and you got the song on there called "Pick a Side" with Snoop Dogg. Also features Jazzy Faye. Um,
Hmm.
how'd that collaboration come about? And with Mount Westmore, what's the status of another project coming from the super group?
Well, yeah, we already from the start we recorded like 2 albums plus worth of music, so the next album will be coming out sooner or later. It's just about the timing. Everybody's so you know such a boss in the group, and then once that's those schedules align again, we'll make another move. But it's already the album is dope, and we'll probably take the songs that we didn't release and update them and put some new ones with it, and you just get another dope ass album. But I am, and we had a conversation recently where there's so many Mount Westmore songs that we're, we're probably going to like steal a few of them. Like my next album, the Little John album, has a Mount Westmore song on it. It'll probably just say Too Short featuring Ice Cube, Snoop, and 40, but it's really a Mount Westmore song. Pick a Side was a Mount Westmore song, and me and Snoop rapped on it. And then um, Snoop is a very married man, but he doesn't mind rapping on a player subject on some pimp shit. But then 40 and Cube, they were like, bitch, pick a side. They're like, man, we ain't trying to do that right now. So it ended up just being me and Snoop, and then I went and got Rex Life and put him on it to balance the song out and give it, some young vibes. So you will still hear the Mount Westmore. Ice Cube released a Mount Westmore song on his last album. Whatever song that's all four of us on there with Snoop's artist that sounds like Marvin Gaye.
October London.
Yeah, so it's on Ice Cube's last album. Whichever one that's
Okay.
featuring me, 40 and Snoop. That was a Mount Westmore song, and definitely you will hear probably if 40 drops an album out, he's probably gonna slide a Mount Westmore song on there. He can if he wants to. I don't know. He might.
I wanted to ask you about because this is really the first time in I think since 2003 that Ant Banks has contributed pretty heavily to one of your albums. He produced 4 tracks on So Too
Hmm.
Short. What was it like reuniting with Ant Banks for this project after all that time and working on so many songs with him?
Well, he was really involved in the Mount Westmore project. He came in, engineered, produced, mixed. He did all kind of stuff with the Mount Westmore project, and we did like 50 songs. He probably has quite a few, like probably like at least 6 or 7 Mount Westmore songs that he produced. And they all didn't get released, but he worked heavily with the group, and we just kind of like getting our feet wet and just get back in the studio and see how vibe. So whatever I'm doing, moving forward, at Banks will be. It's just we just back on, man. He whatever the hell he been doing all these years, he's got so many motherfucking dope beats. I did a song with Maya on an Ant Banks beat that should be coming out pretty soon, and it just goes on and on, man. We back working.
That's what's up. And then the last question, or I guess the last thing I have for you is the song "Brain Surgery." Um, that to me is just a vintage Too Short, game spitting, no nonsense delivery. It's classic. It hits fresh. What was your mindset going into that one, and what makes a track like Brain Surgery, classic or vintage Short in your eyes?
It's just I feel like I'm flexing on that song because what artists from the 80s, 90s can literally in 2025 make a song that sounds just like they made it in the 80s or the 90s. That's a skill to
Yeah.
actually make a relevant retro song. And I'm just flexing, man. I just when we had the beat, when I recorded it, it was just like I just knew it. I'm like this does not sound like a new song, but it does not sound like it's ancient either. But it sounds like I got a time machine, went back and found it in an old computer and brought it back to the future. It's Too Short, man. I put it at the end of the album for a reason too, because I was like, this is the most Too Short song on this album,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna put it at the beginning because it just you got to go find it. And literally, I tried to hide it on the album.
So the last thing, because you said you had a fully produced Little John album, and it just
Hmm.
it just clicked in my brain. Could there be a Too Short album that's fully produced by Ant Banks again?
That's what we set out to do. That it probably will happen very soon, but we've already got the foundation of that recorded. It's already done. The Little John album is called Drink and Smoke, and Volume 3 is called Short Stories. And then I'm going right back in the studio to see about recording and releasing an album. Because I'm like I told you, I'm turning 59. I want to record and release a really dope album when I'm 60. And
Okay.
I just want hip hop to talk about it. Just fuck you gonna say. What you gonna do? You gonna hate on it? You gonna you gonna put it up on a pedestal? What you want to do with it? First rapper to drop a dope ass album at the age of 60. I'm on it.
Hey man, appreciate you stopping by. Um, got Too Short, still macking out now. It's exactly that classic game, new sound, reminder that legends don't fade, they evolve. Thanks for sharing the stories. And if you're listening, go stream the album, run it up, support it. Shortdog would say, get in where you fit in. Last thing, Short, can I get you to do a conversations with Chad shout out?
Okay. What's up, y'all? This is Too Short, and you're tuned in to Conversations with Chad all day, baby.